One day in the jungle, all the animals were asleep. Some of them were even snoring. But when it was time to wake up, they all kind of slowly stretched their muscles. Oh, this feels good. And they turned to each other and said, "Good morning. Let's eat." And they started to eat their breakfast. And then, after breakfast, it was always time to have the seated dance party. So the maraca player had the maraca. He held it up in the sky. And he started to play. And after all that dancing, they were tired. So they went back to sleep. And then they woke up. And they said,
Good morning.
"Let's eat." And after breakfast, what do you do after breakfast? Let's dance. Oh, that's exhausting. Let's go back to bed. And then they woke up.
Good morning.
Good morning. And let's eat. And then it was time to dance. So the maraca player said, "Let's dance." But what they did not know was up the hill lived some ogres. The ogres stood up. They unlocked their door. Unlock, unlock, unlock. And they started to stomp down the hill towards the animals. And the animals heard them coming, so all the animals hid underneath their arms. And the maraca player put the maraca on the ground and he hid too. And the ogres walked over. And then they stopped. And they looked around and said, "I don't like music. I don't like music. I don't like dancing.
I don't like dancing.
I don't like maracas."
I don't like maracas.
And they took that maraca back up the hill over to their house, and they hid it on top of the bookshelf. And they locked their door. Lock, lock, lock. All the animals came out from hiding from underneath their arms. And they looked around, and they said,
Where's the maraca?
"Oh no, it's gone. We've got to get the maraca back."
Up there.
The lions all stood up. Stand up, lions. And the lions said,
Get it back.
and the lions marched up the hill. Ooh, nice marching. All the way to the ogre's house. And they knocked on ogre's door. And all the ogres stood up. Stand up, ogres.
Stand up, ogres.
And the ogres unlocked their door. Unlock, unlock, unlock. And they opened it up. And the lion said,
No.
the ogres just said no. And so the lions roared. And the ogres roared right back. And the ogres shut their door and locked it. Lock, lock, lock. And the lions came back down the hill, marching, marching, marching. And they sat down in their spots. And all the animals asked. They asked them, they said,
Did you get it? No.
"Good try." Next, the bunny rabbit stood up. And the bunny rabbit said,
We'll get back maraca.
and they reached down and started to pick some flowers. Nice. And they made a beautiful bouquet out of them. And then they started to hop up the hill. Ooh, nice hopping. All the way to the ogre's house. And they knocked on, and they backed up a little bit because they wanted to give the ogre some room. Can you back stack up bunnies? Perfect. And they knocked on the door. Knock, knock, knock. The ogre stood up and unlocked their door. Unlock, 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 and opened up their door. And the bunnies said, "Hi, ogre.
Hi, Olga.
Here's some beautiful flowers.
Here's some beautiful flowers.
Can we please have back our maraca?"
Please have back our maraca.
And the ogre said,
No.
and slammed the door. Lock, lock, lock. And the bunny rabbits hopped back down the hill. And when they got back, all the other animals asked. They said, Bunny said no, but everybody said,
Action!
Next, the monkeys stood up. And they stood right where they were. And they said, "We'll get back the maraca."
We'll get back the maraca.
And very quietly, they snuck up the hill. And when they got to the ogre's house, they knocked on ogre's door. And then they hid. They hid. And the ogres stood up and unlocked their door. Unlock, unlock, unlock. And opened up the door, but didn't see anybody. And the monkeys very carefully went inside. And Jaden, the monkey, found that maraca. And the ogre saw them and said, "What are you doing?"
What are you doing?
And the monkeys used their tails and whipped them around. Nice. And then they snuck back down. Nice job. And they got back and all the animals asked, "Did you get it?" Yes. And they all cheered. But then Jaden got an idea. Jaden stood up and he walked all the way back to the ogre's house. And he knocked on the ogre's door. And he knocked. And the ogre stood up. And they unlocked their door. Unlock, unlock, unlock. And Jaden asked them if they wanted to come to the dance party. Can you ask them that, Jaden? Do you want to come to the dance party? Some of them said yes, and some of them said no. But Jaden said, "If you want to come, follow me."
Yep.
And Jaden brought them back to the group, and everybody stood up, stand up, and they all had a dance party.